Protect your quarterbacks and hide your executive assistants because this week, middle-aged men are on the loose for better or for worse. Let's get into it.
It's time to get some sports sense. You're gonna get some sports sense. You better get ready for sports sense. Sports sense.
Hey, Dad. Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
If you haven't been here before, this is Sports Sense. This is a sports show for sports noobs where we keep you up to date on the latest and greatest, or sometimes not so great, that people are talking about in the world of sports, so that you can connect with the sporty people in your life. So I'm Cooper Epps, and this is my dad, James Epps. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Coop.
And quick reminder, especially because Apple just incorporated this into their podcast platform, I chapter all of our episodes, meaning I put time codes in the description, and it will actually, in YouTube and Spotify and now in Apple, as you scrub, it'll show you like what chapter you're on of the episode, what topic we're talking about. So if you want to skip, skip around, jump around, but let's go into some mailbag. We've got one big question this week. It's from Chris, and he says, with National Signing Day being last week, it might have been 2 weeks ago now. He sent me this message last week. And with NIL/transfer portal, is your recruiting class as important anymore? Now, okay, this podcast is supposed to be for beginners, so that question might sound a little convoluted and crazy. You have no idea what's going on. Signing day, so I'll just do a quick definition before you answer, Dad. Signing day is when coaches commit to their new schools that they're going to go coach at. So it's like a big shuffle day for the coaches, right?
Well, yes, I'm taking his reference to the National Signing Day as being high school players signing and committing to their university for the first time as freshmen, right? Coming in. That's where you've seen the things on TV, and they're going to show their hat, or they pull a flag out. Yeah. Right. That's signing. Yeah. That's National Signing Day.
Yeah, I'm with BYU and everybody. Yeah, it's like all over social. Okay, and so he's saying, okay, with all these high school kids being recruited into college, is your recruiting class as important? Which, okay, I guess I'm not sure what he's talking about. So
So let me clarify what I think is happening here. It is a little convoluted question, I think. I think he's going back to the beginning. Is the recruiting class? That's meaning the National Signing Day group of kids. That recruiting class. Yes, they're young, right out of high school. That recruiting class versus the NL and transfer portal, because there's the NIL and the transfer portal, especially transfer portal in this case. How much weight then? I mean, because it was everything before that, the National Signing Day and the high school recruiting class into the first. That was everything, right? Because that's how they got their players.
Yeah,
they might have did a few sneaky transfers, not sneaky, but there's some transfers and things went on. But in the old days, you had to sit out a year with the NCAA regulations. But we're not going to get tied up too deep in that. So my answer is, I think it takes both. I think it depends on what kind of coach you are and a program. I think you do have to be flexible. That was the arrogance to some degree, I think, or just stubbornness of Dabo Swinney for Clemson. Like 3 years ago when they started, he said he was not going to do any portal transfers.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't for a year or two. And what happened to Clemson's national rankings and performance?
Tanked, I imagine.
Down. So now he's coming. I think he's probably coming around. They're starting to do something. So my point is, you've got to have some common sense here. So I do think it's still very important, Chris. I do think it's very important to go out there and recruit, because I think it's going to swing back a little bit. This is my projection. I got nobody I've heard to say that. I just think it will swing back somewhat when things settle down. The NIL money is going to be there no matter what, right? For the top players. NIL money will be there for the guy who just comes in. It doesn't. In fact, I heard of a quarterback just this week who, as a junior, had gotten like $800,000 NIL money, and this past year he went to another high school for $1.6 million. A high school.
Sorry, do you mean college?
High school senior. High school senior.
High schoolers are getting paid now?
In some states, NIL, they're getting some money. Yep.
Whoa.
So that could change the whole world. But anyway, what I'm saying is, I do think it's still very important, because if you can recruit Now, the challenge is you need to recruit, get them in there, and hopefully have them buy into the system and then have the money to pay them as they perform. In other words, recruit them on the potential and offer them money. They got to offer them money. And then hopefully be able to say, as you perform better and better, the money will get better and better. I mean, it's a crazy world. It's professionalism to a great degree now. So I do think it's important, but it definitely is not like it used to be. It can't be with the portal being so open. But I think it still means a lot that you can recruit well. Because I think if you recruit high schoolers well, you'll recruit those in the portal well, right? A good recruiter is going to do great. They're going to be the best teams who can recruit in both realms or both worlds. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And
And
I think you need both. I think you need both.
Well, and it's funny because, especially talking about paying high schoolers like those huge amounts of money and how it's bleeding down to that now. Anyways, we're going to come back to this later in the episode, but we're going to put a pin in this, but I want you to be simmering on this while we talk about other things, Dad. Are you sickened by this or not? Or do you think we're going the wrong direction with student athletics? So anyways, simmer on that. We're going to tease the audience and leave that hanging for a little bit. And let's jump into just our kind of bulleted list of things. So we're going to start out by defining a term really quick here.
Let us learn some sports speak.
Okay. Excuse me. So this week, we're going to talk about the Heisman. Okay, so a lot of people know this term. It's very famous, but I'm curious about a little bit more of a breakdown on it.
Yeah, I mean, they call it the Heisman Award. There's a Heisman Trophy. It's the famous one where the hands are out, the legs up, hands out, got the ball,
stiff arm.
right?
Yeah,
stiff arm. Yeah, that's the famous. It started in 1935, and it was it actually was called DAC, D-A-C, the first honorary or award. It's the Downtown Athletic Club in New York City. That's where they would hold it. And it was the first time they started recognizing. Now, then I don't want to go through the full history. It started on the East Coast, right? So
say what
we'll get to that.
What level of sports it is.
So it's college.
Yeah.
College sports, right?
Okay.
It's all college players. So it developed in being the most general, almost 99% of the time, the top offensive player, generally a quarterback. I don't know what the percentage is, but super high percentage. Quarterback, college football player, has to be a senior. Does it have to be a senior, junior or senior? It seems like you have to be a senior or junior senior, because some of them go out early. So junior or senior somewhere generally is who wins it, but it's a quarterback usually. We have had a defensive back from the Michigan in the 90s. It's a rare defensive player, rare. And it could be a running back once in a blue moon, but it's almost always a quarterback, right? Okay. So that's who wins it. It started way back when.
It does not have to be a senior, by the way.
No, okay. So that makes sense because a lot of
them
come out early.
So it's basically MVP of college football, right?
Yes, the best single player, yes. But it really is the quarterback. It's a quarterback race almost every time. So it'll be offense, quarterback. And it's the most prestigious individual award that there is given in college football and college athletics. So there's other awards, Davey O'Brien. There's the Butkus Award for the best linebacker. There's all these awards nationally, but this is the preeminent one. They do a big show on ESPN. They still do it, which is really cool, at the original athletic club, the Downtown Athletic Club in New York City. So that's pretty cool. All right, that's it.
Okay, fun.
So this year there was, I don't know if you caught you're getting ready. I'll let you tell them who won it, but then I want to follow up with the juicy part.
Okay. And first, do they measure it, before I say who that is, do they measure it by stats, basically, who had the most
subjective
yards or whatever?
Yeah, they look at all that, but it's a popularity contest a little bit too.
Sounds kind of like
politics. Really? It's a lot of politicking. The university thinks they've got one who could be considered. They'll politic all year long. They'll promote it. They'll do banners. They'll do promos, ads.
And I'm guessing if you're even in contention for a Heisman, you're definitely going into the NFL, right?
Yes.
If you're
doesn't mean you're always successful, because we've had some good Heisman winners. Tim Tebow being one who didn't really make it long term in the NFL. So you have some.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I'll let you tell us the juice on this then.
Well, you tell me who won. Yeah, tell me what you had. You
Yeah.
found. Yeah.
So yeah, I read that for a guy named Fernando Mendoza, a quarterback, became the first Indiana University player in history
In its history, yep.
in its history to win the Heisman.
Yeah, that's
So,
big deal. That is big. Indiana University football. I mean, this is crazy. This is
yeah, because
crazy. So
they're
that's really
usually
great.
coming out of the bigger SEC schools, right?
Yeah,
I
we're Big
imagine.
Ten, but they just weren't that great in the Big Ten for forever, for 100 years. And
Okay.
that's what a great coach will do, and the NIL will do, and the portal will do. But great coach.
Okay. So yeah, tell us more about the juice of
So the only
about
juicy
Fernando
part
Mendoza.
was, I think they invite, you can look this up, they invite 3 or 4 to come, the top 3 or 4. Seems like it's 3, but it could be 4.
Candidates for the Heisman.
Yes. And they're invited by the Downtown Athletic Club, and they all sit there and they do this whole thing. They show the highlights of those top 3 or 4 that come, and it's they're sitting there side by side, kind of. It's kind of uncomfortable looking to me a little bit, but because whoever wins, they're all excited. The other guys that lose, they always have to go, "Oh, great job, man!" And they hug and shake hands. And well, the funny thing is, and I guess he's in Vanderbilt. I have to go back and look, but the Diego Pavia was basically the runner-up. Look up Diego Pavia, Pavia.
Yeah.
Just look him up right now. Put Diego Pavia response to Heisman Award, and see what you see headlines.
Okay.
Let's see what you see.
Oh, Diego Pavia blasts Heisman voters. It drops F-bomb.
First one in history. He blew up. He's a very emotional guy, but he really lambasted the voters, the whole thing. I mean, he said that this was rigged, and he went ballistic. First time ever in my life that I recall. There's some guys that were disappointed and come out later and say a few things, but he outburst from almost the very beginning on this thing and made headlines everywhere. Now, the latest headline today is how he is. What do you think he's done now? Obviously.
Yeah, it says I'm already seeing Diego Pavia apologizes for reaction to Heisman loss. Quote, "It was a mistake."
No kidding, Sherlock. You just can't do that on the national stage. But he did it. So that was the juicy part. I don't need to go any more than that. But that was the crazy. So it was the first that Indiana University had one. And it was the first they ever had that kind of response for one who didn't win. But anyway, I thought that was, I hate to say it's funny, but I mean, I feel for the guy. And he did come out and apologize. He's very emotional, I guess, and reactionary. So he lost his mind. And the problem is, you know what that happens, right? He's on every meme for the rest of who knows how long he's going to be, because he was so crazy about it.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen a clip, so I'll look it up and share it on our story. But that's awesome. Okay, well,
that's it for
congrats.
Heisman.
I did see what I didn't mean to talk about this so long, but I did see one clip of like you said, all those Heisman candidates or whatever you call them, contenders, kind of lined up. They each had their different university backdrop behind them and cameras all over them and lights and stuff. And I saw a clip of like kind of panning to show all those guys, and then there was one who didn't have anyone talking to him. And I looked it up, and it was the Ohio State's quarterback, I think.
Yeah.
So is there drama there? Or why wouldn't they?
No, I mean, he's good, and he's all that. He's going to be pretty good. But no, I don't. I guess there wasn't a lot of promo there going on. I don't know.
It looked like he was like literally being shunned or ostracized by the press. It was really interesting.
I don't know. I think he was definitely down on maybe a little further down on the list. They aren't going to pay him a lot of attention, I guess, when didn't get many votes.
Okay. Well, cool. That being said, let's talk about another athlete of the year, athlete of the season type thing. So, and I learned this. I guess Time Magazine chooses an athlete of the year, and this year, this is one of my quick mentions. Asia Wilson of the WNBA, the Vegas Aces is who she plays for, is Time's Athlete of the Year. So there's that to know that. Big deal, obviously, because it's like that goes beyond any specific sport, right? For them to,
that's big.
They're saying, she is the Athlete of the Year, which I didn't. look
Yeah.
into history of that selection or anything, but yeah, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Politics is subjective. It makes up a lot more than just being the best basketball player, right? Female basketball player. There's more to it. It's her influence, big stage and outside of athletics. She
Yeah.
garners a lot of attention. So I think it's the juice she brings to the whole brand. That's the word I was looking for. I mean, she really has built a brand for
Yeah.
herself. So that's a
Interesting.
big deal. That's a
The
big deal for her.
I've heard of her, of course, but like Caitlin Clark's the WNBA name that everybody knows and is hearing these days. I feel
Well,
like
these
above hers,
2,
but
do you say that in the same sentence? Neither Asia's not gonna like that. They don't get along too well. Some of these,
yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure. But
yeah.
so I don't know. I'd
Anyway,
be interested to hear more about how that selection process goes. Honestly, with that and what you're
it's
saying
the
about the Heisman,
editors or whatever the group they have. Time is
yeah, at time,
renowned.
of course, yeah, they're just a private
They're just
press thing, but
selling. They're trying to sell online magazines now or magazines, and
yeah.
they're
So
person of the
yeah,
year, and they've had
sure.
some highly controversial ones, some good ones, some bad ones. But this year, by the way, since we're on this, to show our sports fans that we are well versed in all things not sports too. Did you see that about how the quote time person of the year? Did you see what they
Oh,
did
I
this
don't
year?
think I'm not well versed in other
You
things.
missed this?
No,
Look it up.
who is it this year?
Oh, it's not a person. It's a whole team of all these super high tech. You'll recognize them.
Oh,
They show them sitting on that steel bar
the
of
architects
AI.
of AI are
Yeah.
Times Person of the Year.
Yeah,
Oh,
about 8 of them, and a
okay.
lot of people really the people who act like they care about this think this was the most
Oh
ridiculous
yeah.
selection ever.
It's just like a bunch of random tech people. Like
Yeah,
I
it's Elon
see,
Musk. There's several, and there's,
like
you
the
know
NVIDIA CEO. I see
yes,
there.
yes.
Yes, a few people.
Hey,
Weird.
look what I shared with you. I thought you would be
Yeah.
ahead of me on this.
I don't. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But
It
this.
ra it caused a
th-
real stink because this is
yeah,
they've
you
never
can't
done
pick
anything like
8
this.
people for Person of the Year. That's weird. Oh well. So
Anyway,
yeah, so time is time, yeah, for sure.
right.
But from what you're saying about the Heisman, even where it's not just pure stats, it's politicking and like presenting yourself, and I'm sure giving different speeches and press conferences. It's almost like Miss America or something. Like it seems like it's a
Well, I mean, you've gotta have the talent, right? You've gotta have the numbers, you've gotta have performed, you've gotta have all those, but there's definitely a little bit more to it. Yeah, more.
all right. So other quick bullet point is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are donezo. The San Diego Chargers,
LA
not
Chargers now,
LA
LA Chargers. Mhm.
Chargers, thanks. They not only defeated them in their game on Sunday, but at the end of the game, I understand, they hurt Patrick Mahomes quite bad. So his ACL is torn and he's out for
The last drive
a
of the
long
game where
time.
they're trying to drive to win, and they he got
Tackled
injured.
and hurt him.
So the good
Yeah.
news today, yes, he tore his ACL, but apparently the rest of his knee is in good shape. So there was no
Okay.
other additional ancillary injuries. So got a really good prognosis on that today, that part.
I guess
But
that's all you
they,
can hope for
as
with
you
the
said,
torn
Dunzo,
ACL.
that's correct. And I would say next year, they got a lot of, anyway, we're not going to talk about them. Got a lot of work to do. So the other ACL injury we got to throw out there.
Yeah.
Do you hear about that for Green Bay Packers?
Maybe.
This is important because we
There
talked about
it's
this.
yeah, we've talked about this guy. I forget, but the one who's traded from the Cowboys, right?
Exactly. Micah
Yeah.
Parsons.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Oh
signed like
no.
$186 million deal, and I guess he's played what, 8 games,
A
9
handful
games,
of
10 games,
games,
whatever.
yeah.
Anyway, so that was kind of bad. I feel bad for
Oh
him,
no.
but and then they lost their tight end too that got injured. They lost 3 key people, so they're going to be limping towards the playoffs, and who knows what happens. All right, that's it for the injuries. I hate to see it. I like Kansas City. I love their coach mostly. So
Yeah,
they'll be back. Well, I don't know. They'll probably never had the dynasty they had, the run they had. You just don't
yeah,
have 7-year runs like that too often. So it's all
yeah.
good. Go and get somebody
And
else exciting
Andy
time.
Reid's pretty old. Like he probably is gonna retire soon, don't you think?
He's still got a love for the game. We'll see. I think he's going to be around a little while longer. We'll see. He'll
Alright.
surprise. He'll just all of a sudden do it. I mean, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's over. I don't think he's done yet.
Curious. Okay.
I think
All right.
Kelsey's
Well,
done. I think Kelsey's going to retire this year.
Yeah, he's got a big wedding to go have, and
Yeah, yeah. I think he's done.
just go
We'll see.
relax,
Might be
relax.
wrong, but I think so.
All right. Well, we sorry to take so long. Honestly, Dad, maybe let's skip this.
Yeah, we'll come back
The
to that. That's a
University of
good one.
Utah
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Let's come back because I want to gather a little bit more information on that.
Well,
So
I did
save
tease
that.
the audience with I wanted your opinion. So we'll basically let's come back to this another week. But the quick thing is that University of Utah
Yes.
did a never before thing in college football, which is they've partnered with a private equity firm in New York to basically supply endless funds, from what I understand, or a
Well,
lot of
they're going to do tranches. Tranches are you know what tranche is in an investment? Tranche is, let's say they commit 500 million, which is what they've done. They're willing to. They're purchasing the profitability, the profits. They're purchasing the profits for the most part, future profits of the University of Utah athletics. I mean, like every hot dog you sell, every merchandise you sell,
yeah.
basically is what they're doing. But anyway, tranches mean they might not give you all 500 million, but apparently 500 million was the number. So they might give you 50 million just, on this date, add another 50
Okay.
million on this date. I don't know what their schedule is going to be, but it's going to be something like that. But
So,
it's crazy. And I think we'll follow that and get back with a little information. But that's what's different. They're not just contributing money. They are actually buying it as a business. Equity firms invest and they want a return on their money. And you're talking about 500 million. Now, in the equity world, just so you know, 500 million is a decent chunk. But the
right.
equity world, there's groups that manage up to $1 trillion. So hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's a different world. So 500 million, it's not bad, but it's a pretty big chunk for something that's never been done before.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're counting on a nice return.
So yeah, we'll go do some more research and come back to it, because that's a really dramatic and possibly extremely impactful thing in the world of college sports.
We're going to see if it takes hold. Yeah, you never know.
That being said, with all this money in student athletics, just really quick, Dad, what's your opinion on like the direction things are going right now?
I think it's already gone too far. And I'm not even being a stick in the mud. I'm all for when these are businesses, multi and almost billion-dollar business. A couple of these big football teams, the Michigans and Ohio States, believe it or not, they have more money. Big Ten schools have more money because they've had more alumni who were much more wealthier, and they have broader bases like Notre Dame too. They're not Big Ten, but Notre Dame. Those schools versus the SEC. The joke is the SEC used to have the best under the table money with all the car dealers and stuff like that. We'll give you a car, we'll slide you extra $5,000. There's a lot of that. But when it gets down to it, they don't have the money, the alumni money.
Wow. Okay.
Like the Big Ten does generally, and some other schools. But anyway, or the Dukes, ultimately, there's some big schools that, anyway. So I think it's gone too far. There needs to be I think in anything in life, you need safeguards, railings. You need some sort of agreed upon control, not crazy stuff like the old NCAA, but I mean some sort of, just like in NFL,
Yeah, in this case,
salary cap, right? I'm talking about the money, right? Right now,
Yeah.
it is still the wild, wild. I'm talking about the money right now, NIL.
Yeah,
not
there's
the
no
portal.
cap
No cap
at all to what
at
can be paid.
all, and it can be coming from anywhere, anyhow, anytime, as much as you want. So I think they've got to get some sort of, not that I'm trying to help the little guys. The little guys are going to be the little guys, and they kind of always have been and will be the little schools. I'm just talking about it needs some sort of reasonably fair structure for the big boys to play in. And I think you open yourselves up to huge fraud potential, huge gambling and gambling fraud issues. You have all these. There's so much at stake, and there's just no control. I just don't. And so now I'm going to tie it back into the portal because I think they're hand in hand. But right now, so the money is, yes, and especially if it gets, as I've heard, some high school, if it gets filtered down to the high school, it'll get to the junior high. It's crazy. So they do need, and who runs that?
They're-
Who knows? It should be the big 3 conferences probably for they need to make, you hear these consortiums that get together in the industry, big titans come together and put some sort of rules in place so they can keep their business kind of moving ahead. They all kind of agree they don't want to be cannibalistic, and they want to kind of work together and basically make monopolies, but they're different companies. Well, the conferences, some of the big conferences pretty much need to do that and get some control on this because it is so out of control that it really is. I mean, there's not a student. Let's not even talk about it. I think there's still student athletes, but I think that if you have 100 guys or 85 scholarship guys on a football team, one of the big time football teams, there's going to be some money dribble, down the lower end. But those aren't the guys, those aren't the ones you worry about. But that top 10 or 15 or 20 players on a football team who are garnering 80% of the money, you're getting into just the problem is now you couple that with a portal and they can hop up and leave. So I do think there should be some restrictions. If you take $10 million to go play at Ohio State and you're the top quarterback coming out, you take that. There's got to be some rules in place that says if you go in the transfer portal after 1 year or 2 year, in other words, you basically are getting a $2.5 million deal for 4 years. You lose. You do not get paid that money. You're out of it and you go to the next one. Yeah, you're going to get paid by the next group. Fine. But the money has got to get some sort of control and you don't pay it all up front. There's got to be some structure to how the payments are made. And then you also lose the right of that money if you leave that university.
Sure.
Or if you take that money, then you're committed to that university for 4 years. There's got to be some structure.
That's just like normal professionalism. If they're going to pay them like professionals, then
exactly. Right.
That makes sense to have some normal.
Could you imagine NFL
rules.
Football if you could just have this free for all constantly?
Right. Right.
You couldn't even tell what kind of teams you had each year. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. They do need to make some serious improvements, get some structure. I'm not talking about crazy stuff, but some structure that holds people accountable for the money that's spent, the money that's received. And I think that's true of coaches also, by the way. The coaches, I do think they need to make a definitive correction on when a coach can be hired, and it has to be after the conclusion of the regular season at minimum.
Yeah. Okay.
And even if they have to push back to other stuff. Anyway,
No, that makes sense. And I just want to make a point about student
right. So I want to go back. I'm sorry about that. See, that's what I was saying. About 80% of the team, I think they are student athletes, right?
Like they're going to school, they're studying.
They got a scholarship.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I was saying. They're getting a little bit of the money, maybe NIL. But let's talk about the wrestlers. Let's talk about the tennis players. Let's talk about lacrosse players. They all might get a little bit of money, but they are truly so. Student athlete, I love it, and it still exists, but in all the other sports. But we all have to admit, a good reason they have all the other sports, the funding is because of the football program or the basketball program, and in some instances, right? So, but they are the true student athletes, and I love that. So I still am a big fan of student athletes.
Well, and I guess what I was going to lead into is another mailbag thing I forgot, which is Brody, my brother-in-law, told me that I can't remember which coach. It was the LSU coach years ago who apparently, when he said that when his players were not, basically when they didn't have good enough grades to be allowed to continue playing, he would.
Based on NCAA regulations, right?
Yeah. Yes. Apparently, he would have them sign up for BYU online classes because they were easy and cheap enough, at least easy enough that they could get good grades and bump up their GPA just enough. So isn't that funny?
That is hilarious.
It just came out in an interview recently. But so he would send people to BYU online of all places. So
of all places,
anyways, fun little BYU plug.
That's funny.
Okay, let's move. Now we've already recorded a full episode and haven't even gotten to our 2 main stories. So sorry everybody to tease you.
One
with this
was
stuff,
just going to be a bullet. Yeah, then we got to talk about one thing.
Okay. Well, I think this one can be a bullet. But we do have to mention it because it was one of the biggest stories last week. So we've talked a lot about coaches being fired this year, but this one went out in a blaze of not so much glory. The Michigan football head coach, Sharon Moore, was fired and arrested after an inappropriate
That's a
relationship with a
bad
staffer.
day. That's a
Yeah,
bad day.
yeah. So okay, yeah. So fired and arrested. So fired because it was an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Of course, there's theories that if he's good enough, they would find a way to not fire him or whatever. Arrested because when that story was getting leaked by this lady he had been having relations with, he went, flipped out, went to her place, barged in apparently, and was threatening to unalive himself, as they say, and is scaring her. It sounds like he probably didn't threaten her, but was, scaring her, acting crazy, and then apparently ran away. And as he was running away, he was found and arrested. He's out on bail now, pretty small bail. They
Yep.
basically got
Yep.
him on some misdemeanors, so it didn't end up being crazy, but he was seriously considering hurting himself apparently, and just
Right.
really freaking
Right.
out. So it's just scary for everyone involved, and
Yeah.
sad. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Hopefully he gets some help because he definitely has some serious emotional issues here. And
Yeah.
this is the classic where there's smoke, there's fire. There had been smoke. The university had hired a law firm out of Chicago already to investigate this back in May. There had
Whoa,
been
really?
rumblings about this relationship had gone on for a while. I think there's definitely people who knew about it, but they didn't have evidence and proof, and she would not come forward. Well, she finally wanted to break it off with them, and she went forward to the athletic department. That's where it all exploded all in one day.
Okay.
They fired him because she gave a statement, and they had already had someone investigate. You know what I mean? So anyway, but now this is blowing up. By the way, at Michigan, that same law firm is doing a complete investigation on the whole athletic department, on what's been going on, what kind of what's anyway. Anyway, that's it. But we won't go much more into that. But that's too bad. I mean, I feel bad. He has 3 young children. It's the classic, why
Just
people do this. But
right.
you and I don't understand it
Tragic.
because that's not our life, and we're not those kind of men. And it's it's sad. And but he's in a mess.
Well, yeah, you've set a good example there for me, so I appreciate it. But yeah, gosh, that would have been heartbreaking to find out that, yeah, I'm like in middle school or elementary school, and all of a sudden you're gone for this crazy reason. I would have been
crazy.
I praying for those 3 little girls, because that's heartbreaking. Okay,
so let's talk about someone else who I think is the opposite of that.
So yeah, from the low to the high, this is a really crazy moment, and a really positive thing, really inspirational. So I'll just give this tiny setup that I wrote down, and then it's all you, Dad. So I wrote down, after Indianapolis Colts quarterback Daniel Jones, which I didn't even know. I didn't know who Daniel Jones was.
He's from Duke. He's from Duke originally.
Oh, really? Okay, crazy.
Duke football player, yeah.
Well, apparently after he tore his Achilles a week ago, somebody special was brought out of retirement, a 44-year-old former NFL quarterback, and his name is Philip Rivers. But Dad, I'll let you talk about that story a little bit.
Yeah, and they wouldn't normally have to do this, but their backup quarterback's hurt. They were in a mess. They were 100% depleted of any experienced quarter. And they started the season so well, 9-1, and they've lost like 4 games in a row. And so anyway, and Jones had been hurt some, and they had not been playing as well. Yes, gosh, this is and we're going to have to cut it short. But I mean, so let's talk about him real quick. Let's tell you his story. Number one, he played at NC State, so we love Philip Rivers. And during that time was when your brothers were playing football in high school. Wakefield, our other competitive high school at the time, became great all of a sudden because the head coach who came to be a head coach is Philip Rivers' dad. He came to coach the 4 years while Rivers played at NC State.
No
They're
way.
from Alabama, but he moved a family up here to support his son, and he coached their team. And they were so good. And anyway, that's where, the famous story of your oldest brother kicked the winning field goal to beat Wakefield for the first time.
So while cool Philip Rivers' dad was coaching?
Yes.
Oh, that
was our one time. Anyway, so cool. So Philip Rivers is the father of 10 children. He is
Wow.
a grandfather now.
Gosh.
And he is 44. He just turned 45, I think, December 8th.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
His birthday is December. Anyway, so we'll answer a couple questions that you had that are great questions. But here's the key. He hadn't played in 5 seasons. He played 18 seasons in the NFL. And he was with the Chargers all but, I think it was the last season where he played for the Indianapolis Colts. So
Okay.
he loves he's known their coach, Steichen forever, Coach Steichen, and they're friends. And he has a real affinity for the Colts, even though he's a Charger, right? He's retired as a Charger. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Charger. But he still loved the Colts. Well, he's crazy. Whoever's listening to us, you want to have some fun, just Google some of his speeches to the NC State football team in the last year or two. He gives a great one. He coaches high school boys teams. But here's what he's renowned for. He's the ultimate trash talk. He talks constantly on the field. But here's the beauty. They'd never have got one cuss word on him on mic. He doesn't talk that way. He said he's hilarious, from Alabama. So what you'll hear him say is, "Dadgum, shoot, dad, nabbit." That's all you ever hear. So go listen to his and he's talking. He's like he'll call a ref, "Ron." There's a famous one, video out there. He's going, "Ron, Ron, Ron," and he's yelling at the ref. The ref won't turn around. He's about 5 feet from Ron, turn around, look at me, Ron. I mean, he's just. Everybody loved him, though. You know what I mean? He could drive you nuts because he's funny. And then he never cussed or he never abused anybody. But just funny things. He was constantly talking to other guys on the team.
Yeah, I mean, never abused anyone. You're really going up in crimes there just from not cussing to not abusing anyone.
Well, no, meaning a verbal, not saying anything bad.
Okay.
I mean, he just was funny. He would just stay after him or question something. Anyway, you just got to go listen to him.
He's a good guy, generally.
Thoroughly entertaining. Great guy, great Christian. Great, one wife, 10 children. This is he is remarkable.
She had all 10?
Yes.
I figured he must have to be remarried. That's crazy.
No. This is his family. His family. Wow. Anyway, but he was a great NFL quarterback. To answer your question, he never made it to the Super Bowl. It was 2007. He got beat in the conference championship to go to the Super Bowl by the Patriots, one of their great teams. But he always had his team. He's such a competitor. He's a crazy competitor. Who else would come off the couch after 5 years willing to? And by the way,
as a middle-aged man.
Yeah, and the first game he plays against one of the top defenses in the NFL that could kill an average player. I mean, he has players on his team the same age as his oldest. I think it's his daughter who has the grandbaby or grandbabies.
Wow.
I mean, he's old enough to be their fathers and more. Anyway, I just love him to death. So he is not. Tom Brady actually was the oldest to play. Now he'll overtake him if he plays a few more months because they're like 4 months difference in age. And Brady did play when he was 45 his last season. He was 45. Wow. And that's what he just turned, was 45. But nobody's ever done this. Nobody stayed out of the game that long. The only
Tom
player
Brady, he just played until he was that old.
Right.
Stayed in shape.
Correct. Right.
And then Philip Rivers has been sitting on the couch watching football. I heard him say this in an interview. Yeah, he just has been watching football every weekend like a normal guy.
He put on some pounds. He put on some pounds. He's a little chunky.
He looks a little
for
beefy.
Him. Yeah, he's a big man anyway. He's strong. He's a big man. But so anyway, a couple of the crazy things is real quick. You ask, who's the oldest ever played? As a player I knew when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years up to age 14. His name was George Blanda. He played for Oakland Raiders. He was a quarterback and a kicker. He played up to age 48. I think it was 48, but he wasn't a full-time quarterback. He could sub. He subbed in as a quarterback, but he was a full-time kicker, and he was a backup quarterback up to age 48. So he's actually the oldest, quote, QB to ever play. But Brady was the oldest consistent starter, active player. Kind of fun. But so to say, it's almost a miracle that he could come out and do it. In fact, he apparently had told his wife a couple of years ago, he said, "I do miss getting hit sometimes. I wish I could play and get hit." He said, "Sometimes I just like that contact." And she says,
Crazy.
"There's something wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
There's something wrong with you." And he even said in this game, he said, at first there was a fumble snap and he got hit hard. He didn't like that. But he said he got hit a couple times and he felt good. He felt like he's got him in the game. So the crazy thing is, right? Seattle is one of the leading teams in NFL, one of the top 3 defenses in NFL this year. And they were playing at Seattle. And he
Wow.
goes and plays. And I mean, there was some predicting his death. He was going to get killed literally, and some predicting he wasn't going to be able to make it a series, much less a quarter, much less a game. So what did he do? The last offensive drive, he drives them down the field, and they get a field goal to take the lead to win the game. And there's less than 2 minutes to go, but his dang defense couldn't hold Seattle. Seattle drove and kicked the last second field goal to win the game by 2. So
dang it.
nobody, I mean, that alone seemed impossible to happen. Nobody gave
just
him,
to put up a good fight. They didn't think
and
he
he had him he did his part to get him in a winning position. He ended up throwing an interception late. That was his only mistake, but he stunned. He basically stunned a lot of these talking heads into silence because they just can't believe what they witnessed. So
Cool.
they had, this is what they've been waiting for. They have declared him the starter for the next game. The problem is the last 4 games of the regular season, starting with Seattle, all 4 teams have unbelievable defenses. So he's going to probably be running for his life but he's starting the next game. I mean, and oh, by the way, so the crazy thing is, show you how he doesn't care about individual accolades. For you to get voted in the Hall of Fame, you had to sit out for 5 years. He just was about to complete his 5th year.
Okay.
But now his clock started over. When he started that game yesterday, his clock of 5 years started over.
Wow. That's that's pretty cool. He did, in the little bit of interviews I listened to, he did seem like crazy humble, which so many of these guys are, but
he's just awesome. And he's very emotional afterwards. He's talking about being an example to his boys and other youth to say, hey, don't be fearful of trying things. So what if he says, his fear is real but you got to fight through it and just try some things in life. Don't worry about,
He said it's like it's easy to go home and say no. And he's like, but sometimes you just gotta get out there and go. So as he said some doors open and you just gotta walk through them, something like that.
And he wants some of his younger kids to see him play.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Anyway, we'll keep a track on him. He is worth talking about if he can stay upright and see what he does the next 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, if he, I'm really hoping for just the Disney movie ending where this old guy comes off the couch, leads his team to the Super Bowl, and
at least the playoffs would be pretty cool. So yes, pretty cool.
Amazing. Okay, well,
I'm a big fan. In other words,
well, that sounds great. I'm becoming a fan now. I mean, I grew up. You raised me an NC State fan, and so I knew his name because of that, but I didn't really I didn't follow him professionally or know how he did at all. Okay, is it worth talking about a big game this week?
The only thing is, yes. The only thing I would say is what a big game we had to pick for the Bills over the Patriots.
Oh yeah,
Patriots had a chance to lock the division title up. The Patriots they were ahead 21-0. Coop.
No way.
The Bills were struggling. The Bills squeezed in a score at the very end of the first half. Anyway, the Bills went on to win 35-31.
What?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. So we picked another great big game.
We did.
Real quick, what's really important, reason we have to talk football. So the pro game the big game next week is Los Angeles Rams versus Seattle. This is getting to be playoff implications, where they're going to be seated. That's the best 2 teams playing each other next week. I think it's the biggest game. But here's what starts next weekend, Friday and Saturday, 19th and 20th, the college football playoffs.
Oh, this weekend,
yes. Can you believe that? 19th, call it the bracket. Make sure I'm right, but I'm certain I saw it, the 19th and the 20th. And I will give you the one college big game of those 4 games. There is a big game in there, and that is going to be number 9. Yep, take a look.
That is this weekend. You're correct. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm wrong sometimes, but most times I'm right. But so the big game for us on that, I would say, is number 9 ranked Alabama versus number 8 ranked Oklahoma. Of
Okay.
the 4 games, that's the best, most competitive game. The Miami game might be all right too, but that's our game we're picking. All right.
Okay.
And then that's all I got to say. Amen and amen.
Hey, do you think that does this James Madison University have any sort of chance against Oregon?
Look at me, Coop. Look at me.
What do you? No. Okay, big no. What? Ugh. How did they?
This is what we try to talk about, them and Tulane. They both got in because I told you about the screwed up rules they had about being the highest ranked of what they call the other 4 conferences, whatever. But it's because Duke upset Virginia, ACC didn't have a representative. So because the ACC didn't have somebody, one of these teams got to slide in there.
Okay.
So this exposed one of the faulty rules that they have built in. Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay. All right. Well, let's let's close on that. Pretty crazy week, and thanks for taking the time to explain it all so late over there, Dad.
It's a blast. No, it's all good.
Well, thank you so much. And if you're still here, hey, make sure you are subscribed to us on your podcast platform of choice. But YouTube would be super helpful as well if you could subscribe there and give us some thumbs up there and help us get in front of some more new listeners. Keep an eye out on Phillip Rivers and this week and
the college football playoffs this weekend.
Oh yeah, I'll mention that too. I'll put a link on our story, but we did start a CFP bracket challenge if you want to join and compete with us to see who's going to have the best bracket.
Yeah, the SportSense bracket. Get in there. It's going to be fun.
All right.
All right,
well,
buddy.
See you later, everybody. See you, Dad.
Yep.
Love you. Bye.
SportSense.